All right.
I'm starting from Judges, chapter 2, verse 6. Let me do this again. When Joshua dismissed the people of Israel, and he went each of his inheritance, take possession of the land, and the people served the Lord all the days of Joshua, and all the days of the elders. Who outlined Joshua's, I'm sorry, who had sent all the great work that the Lord had done for Israel. And Joshua, the son of Nun, and the servant of the Lord. He died at the age of 130. And they buried him within the boundaries of his inheritance. Tamar, being in the hill country of Ephraim, north of the mountain of Gash up there. And all that generation also were gathered to their father. And arose another generation, and there who did not know, another generation that did not know the Lord or the work that he had done for Israel. Hallelujah, Jesus. And the peoples of Israel, for was civil the sight of the sight of the Lord, served Baal, and they abandoned the Lord, the God of their fathers. I'm going to stop right there. But I want you to stay focused on verse 6 through 23. And I'm just going to go ahead and do the word today. Amen. The word today is the issue of disobedience and defeat. As we read Judges, a question could be posed to the audience, which is us. Or why was this time of Judges so true? And we look at 2:10 through 23. Israel was a theocracy. That is, God was its ruler. They didn't have Jesus then. It was God that was ruling them. The people was to obey God and follow his leadership. But the people found it difficult to follow the leaders without a human face and a presence. Yes. So they couldn't live by faith, to seem like to me. I don't know. By the time Joshua, the last of the great leaders of Exodus, died, if we look at it in verse 8, a new generation had grown up, and they didn't know the Lord. Not what the Lord had done for you. As we look at it in verse 10. So God raised up judges to save them. Israel having been met with disaster in verse 14 as we see, accepted each judge when they needed a military and a civil leadership. And if he did or she was a godly leader, then the people obeyed God and kept the covenant. But after each leader's death, you know how it is when the cat's going. When the cat is away, the mouse starts playing. The people again turn away from the Lord and follow examples of pagans and Canaanites who live among them. And they worship Baal and all kind of idols. Ultimately, God met our needs for a leader with a man faced once and for all. And Jesus Christ, who became one of us, yes, who is able to empathize with our weakness. For he has been tempted in every way, just as we are. Yes. Yet he did not sin.
Amen. Amen.
He is now always with believers to the very end and age. You know, I was in Jackson a couple weeks ago, and I was able to visit one of my instructors. Matter of fact, the instructor that I'm recording this video for, I visited his home. And sister, I was so proud. I didn't believe it. I did it last year, and he did the same thing. They had a ritual. Before they did, they had a ritual there when they went through the 23rd something. They just, everything by memory before they ate. And I said, man, whoo, how did they remember all of this? And I looked at every child that he had when he growed up in college, and the last one is at home, and mama is schooling them at home. They learning Greek. They learning Hebrew. I said, my goodness. I showed some of this stuff to Marcus. It was 3 pages of memory that they do before they eat, Brother Alphonse. 3 pages I showed it to him. I asked Marcus, I said, you think you can remember all of that? He said, I doubt it. But the kicker is, it wasn't that he can need to remember it now. It was installed into this children at the very beginning so that they can remember at the end. Yes. Amen. So what are we doing today? Lord Jesus, help me, Lord. Lord, my heart is heavy. And we read through the text. Yes, Lord. There's another question that we could pose on how could a whole generation not know the Lord? Come on now. Amen. That's what the kids say. How y'all say it? Come on now. How y'all say it? How could a whole generation not know the Lord? How you say it, Marcus? Come on now. A whole generation not even know nothing about him. It kind of every now and then we think about it when our own kids, we think about it. Did we really teach them? Did they not just get it? Or we were trying to teach them and they didn't get it? A whole generation. Well, evidently the Israelite parents, they had failed to teach their children. God had commanded the Israelites to pass his laws and morals and moral values along to the next generation. Yeah. If you look at it in Deuteronomy 6 and 4 through 9. Gradually, they were supposed to be influenced by paganism. Gradually, they was influenced by paganism around them. Don't that happen to our children? Other things. Y'all might be. I'm talking about us too, but I'm on the children. However, the Israelites, they surrendered to the prevailing culture and social values. Despite, and you read at the beginning of that Judges, the angels had already talked to them. Despite the angels, direct warning. Yes. Here's another question. I just feel like I got to say this right now. I couldn't wait. Sister Lau. I had to say it right now. Here's another question that may be asked, is why did people need leaders to keep them faithfully to God? Well, without strong leadership, keeping faithful God seemed to have been almost impossible for peoples of Israel. Even with leadership of godly men like Moses and Joshua, the people had fallen under the influence of idol worship who lived around.
Yes.
Y'all get it? Folks that live around. Sometimes we might think about surrounding ourselves with godly people. Most of the judges during this time were military leaders rather than spiritual leaders. They liberated the people from oppressors. But after each judge died, the people returned to the idol worship and they practiced by their oppressors, and they returned right back to the same thing. Soon as mom and dad are gone, soon as mom and dad turn their head, they go right back on the same place.
Amen. Amen.
I'm just, the Lord gave me this. Well, it was the Lord. It was a text that our professor wanted to preach from, but it seemed like it's fitting today.
Amen.
I don't know whether he had a vision that's looking out at it, but it seems like this text is fitting for our children and our generation from generation today. Why did you think God decided to stop helping Israel? Well, let me see, can I help you there? Yeah. God worked with Israel on the basis of condition. That was a promise, that was a covenant.
Yes.
Promise between me and you. Or an agreement. It specifies certain conditions that the Israelites have to follow if they want to receive God's promise and blessing.
Yes.
They could expect a life in prosperity or death and destruction. They have choice. If we look at Deuteronomy 30, 15 through 18. God didn't change his mind.
Amen.
He merely carried out the terms of the agreement.
Amen.
Another question. Why do you think God tested Israel? Mr. Sammy? If we look at 2:22, God tested Israel. God's testing of Israel was an ongoing examination to determine whether or not the nation would keep the way of the Lord and walk in their ancestors as their ancestors did. Do you think the Lord tests us today?
Every day. Amen.
It hadn't changed.
Yes.
It was not a once for all event, like the final exam at the end of the course. Rather the attack as well as the proximity of several nations over a number of years challenged the faithfulness of Israel. Each new test actually brought Israel new opportunity to love and serve God. Sometimes God make us hate. Sometimes God takes something away from us. Sometimes a friend, a mother, he brings us close together. Do y'all see sometimes we lose somebody and we go to a funeral and you see all kind of family around, family coming from everywhere, don't you?
Amen.
And most of the time they come and they be in prayer, don't you?
Amen.
Lifting one another.
Yes.
I just feel the urge, Sister Loud, to speak today. And finally, a question. God tested them really. Determine whether or not the nation would keep the way of the Lord. It was just, we wonder why.
Yes.
Let me see, could I just think about the day and our kids so many of our kids and getting killed and they're so young. I think about the generation. I wonder, are we really teaching? Are we really just bringing them to church? Are we really just dropping our children off to Sunday school? Are we teaching them what thus said the Lord? Let me move on. Let me move on. The key subject in this sermon is the issue of disobedience and defeat. Strong leadership is the key to holding a nation together. Under the strong leadership of Moses and Joshua, the Israelites had enjoyed a relative peace and unity in their journey from Egypt to the promised land of Canaan. Moses eventually died and the leadership role was transferred to Joshua. Joshua was a good leader, just as Moses, and he eventually finally died. There was no outright successor of this reign, and thus Israel entered into the leadership crisis. Amen. With no precise leadership plan, the nation was a chaos. And the people did whatever they wanted to do because the cat was away. Well, defeat and befell the nation. Whatever due to disobedience, they were defeated, and their enemies had upper hand in all of the battles that they were involved in. I want to talk about some key points if y'all don't mind. I got let's see how many I have. I have 4 of them. One of them is the binding ties of the Israelites. I'm just going to move down. The first point, God wanted the Israelites to remain united, just like he wanted us to do. And he wanted them to serve him, just like he wanted us to do. Yes. This brings the question of what ties have been put in place to bind the people under the leadership of Moses and Joshua in serving one true God, whom they call Yahweh. And Judges 2 and 7 state that people served the Lord throughout the lifetime of Joshua. And the elders who outlived him and who had seen all the great things that the Lord had done for him. The common fact is that was uniting the Israelites, and that just like we need to unite, and that should have held them together as a nation. What the experience that they had to do, or what God had done for them. Not only had God delivered them from slavery in Egypt and sustained them throughout their journey in the wilderness, throughout a series of tremendous miracles, he had entered into a covenant relationship with them after choosing them to be his own people. Wow. Amen. God chooses you too. If you let him. It was the covenant, which was commonly known as the law of Moses, that should have guided them both as individuals and as a nation in servicing God. Amen. Wow. With the covenant as the foundation and framework, there should not have been the need for a strong leader if they had faith. Sometimes they say, well, we look into the pastor. Yeah, I give you some spiritual words, some spiritual leadership. But if you have faith, because you have faith, sometimes God used a person that's not. He used sinners and can give us a word. Yes. Amen. He just wants us to listen at the word, right? Yes. Amen. All right now. The Israelites should have been able to look up to one true God as their help. And they didn't do it. Yes. I'm going to go into another point, if you don't mind, Brother. Amen. Passing knowledge. That's what I'm trying to. This is what would hurt me this morning. I'm thinking we're not doing it for our children. I'm thinking, Sister Bracken, passing knowledge of God to future generations is a must to do for all Christians to prevent failure and loss of dignity in the worship of God. If we don't pass it, we'll lose that dignity. Worshiping God. After the death of Joshua the generation that followed practice, they practiced polytheism and failed to worship. Oh, why, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And in Judges 2 and 10 state that after the whole generation had been gathered to their ancestors, another generation grew up who knew neither the Lord nor what he had done for Israel. This verse shows that the generation did not know the long walk in the Lord and that their ancestors had partook in doing the Exodus and under the reign of Joshua. Yes. They didn't know about it because they didn't teach them. It appears that the knowledge of God and what he had done did not get passed on to the next generation. It was a failure of teaching. It appears that there was no formal instruction about the covenant of the law given to the Israelites. They failed to teach it. Even the ancestors of the Lord did not get passed down to these future generations.
Amen.
Seemed like they didn't even know who their ancestors were. It seemed like a principle of worship and a reason for ritual, a practice and tradition were not taught to these generations. Amen. As Christians, the history of our religions is so crucial to us. This is because forgetting what God has done to us throughout history bring us one step closer to forgetting God altogether. Yes. As they say, ignorance of the law is no excuse. That's it. Oh, God put the word out here for you.
Yes, yes.
Hallelujah, Jesus.
Amen.
Thank you, God.
Yes.
Thank you, God. Not understanding what God has done in the past causes us to look elsewhere. Wow. If we don't understand when God's our children don't understand who God is, and when they get in trouble, they get in trouble with the law and the other thing, they don't know who else to look for. They call them mama. Mama, I ain't answering for long. Call him Papa. He dug his own hole, let him live in it.
Yes.
But when you can't call on Daddy, you can't call on Mama, you can call on the Lord.
Yeah.
Hallelujah, Jesus.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, oh God.
Thank you.
Thank you, God, for your word.
Yes.
I got a third point. I'm moving on to the end. Judges 2, 11 through 23, explain the consequences of failing to pass on God's knowledge to future generations. The consequences. The process of forgetting God starts with overlooking of commonly accepted principles regarding worship, such as monotheism. The generation after the death of Joshua did evil in the eyes of the Lord in Judges 2 and 11. This involved forsaking God to worship Baal and other idols in Judges 2 and 12. This action provoked God to unlash his anger. Y'all hear me? And provoked God to unlash his anger upon them and punish them. As punishment, God sold them off to their enemies who plundered the very thing that the Baals and the idols that they worship. And that was supposed to protect them. Well, I hope y'all hear what I'm saying.
Yes.
These idols supposedly was to protect them and make flourish. The crops in 2 and 14. God is a merciful God.
Thank you, Lord.
Even though what they've done wrong. He heard their cry. After hearing the cries of the people in the hands of their enemies, he raised up judges through whom he will protect his people. Protect us.
Yes.
However, the generation, they were still disobedient and quickly to return their old evil ways. Hallelujah. Ultimately, since the people violated their covenant with God, he did not drive out the remnant of the people who were left in Palestine at the time of Joshua's death. God left them right there. as a test,
Yes.
as a test,
Mm-hmm.
and see whether they were really committed to following him. My last point, y'all just bear with me for just a minute.
Amen.
Go ahead.
I just feel the need to talk about this. My last point, the concept of ideals. Did not escape the teaching of Joshua. He taught of what God expected from the Israelites and the responsibilities and roles that they were obligated to perform as an ideal people of God. In connection with a further reading in 1 Samuel 8, the Israelites eventually decided that the reason for their problem was that they were not sufficiently like the nation around them. They thought that they having a king was the solution to stop the invasion of the saints.
Yes.
Now y'all remember that? King Jesus came and they misunderstood him too. They thought he was going to solve all their problems too. Lord Jesus.
Yes.
I was just looking at this. They thought that having this king solution was going to stop that. The covenant stated that God was the ultimate ruler of the people and would lead them to win in all battles that they faced. By asking for the earthly king, they were really rejecting God. Right?
Yes, come on.
They were depending on somebody else.
Yes.
The Israelites failed to pass on the knowledge about God to their future generation. Just bring the question of who on us it really was to do this. It was undeniable that it was the responsibility of the parent to tell the children the meaning of the ritual, such as the Passover and the law of Moses, to ensure that they fully comprehend what God expected from them. As I conclude, Brother Cook, the major lesson that we can derive from this sermon is that the role that we have in passing on information to our future generation.
Amen.
It is sad, my friends, today to see that the misconception that is solely the duty of religious leaders that to give instruction pertaining to religion and practice. In reality, it is the responsibility of all of us to do that. Yes. But some think it's just the pastor and religion leader. Yes. Parents are supposed to teach their children, who will in turn teach their children, and the cycle will continue on. I'm worried about today. I'm worried about our older people in the society are more experienced and wiser, but they do not pass it on to the younger generation. A breakdown. We need a breakdown in communication. We need to pass it on to God, God's word to our children, and then our children will know what God said to the Lord. And we need to make sure that they come to Sunday school, make sure that they learn some type of ritual, learn something that they can remember for later on. I'm telling you, our generation is missing.
Yes, Lord. Yes.
God.
Yes, God.
Disobedience.
Yes.
Disobedience. I know our service may seem to be a little bit out of order this morning.
God has all right.
It's all right.
But God